They told him there were no rooms available until another client arrived. The staff didn't know that the man they had turned away wasn't just any traveler. He was a football legend, a model of success, a businessman, Zidane. What they didn't realize was that this moment would forever shape the future of their hotel. The rain pounded the cobblestones of Paris, reflecting the city's lights like a blurred canvas. A black SUV pulled up under the illuminated sign of the Grand Hotel Imperial, a symbol of elegance and exclusivity. Inside the vehicle, Zidane remained calm, his impeccable black suit untouched by the dreary weather. His driver stepped out first, holding an umbrella to shield him from the rain. As he entered the lobby, water droplets glistened on his custom leather shoes. His presence commanded respect, not just because of his elegant suit or the confidence in his stride, but the aura of a man who had shaped football history with determination and ambition. The lobby of the Grand Hotel Imperial exuded luxury. Polished marble floors, golden chandeliers suspended overhead, and majestic ceilings. Yet, despite the opulent setting, Zidane sensed a slight tension in the air. The receptionist's fleeting glance, barely looking up as he approached, betrayed it. "Good evening," Zidane said in a calm, composed voice, his smile both warm and assured. "I need a suite for the night. My flight was delayed, and I'd like to settle somewhere before leaving tomorrow." The receptionist, a young man named Mark, glanced distractedly at his badge before responding without lifting his head. "We're fully booked," he said curtly, his fingers lazily tapping the keyboard. Zidane raised an eyebrow, his expression impassive. "Fully booked? No rooms available at all?" "That's right," Mark replied, without a hint of apology. "Not a single one." Zidane looked around. The sofas were empty, the bar quiet, and the elevator emitted a soft beep as a lone guest stepped out. Completely booked? Something wasn't right. But before he could respond, the revolving doors swung open. A young couple entered, laughing softly as they pulled their suitcase to the counter. Mark's demeanor changed instantly. His forced smile widened, and he adopted an overly polite tone. "Welcome to the Grand Hotel Imperial. How can I assist you this evening?" The man shook his head. "We don't have a reservation, but we're hoping you have a room available." Mark's fingers tapped rapidly on the keyboard. "No problem, let me check." Within seconds, he slid a key card across the counter with a theatrical gesture. "Enjoy your stay." Zidane stood silently, observing the scene. This kind of treatment wasn't new to him, but tonight it felt different. This wasn't just about a hotel room. It was a system of subtle, deliberate exclusion. He turned slowly and headed for the exit, the rain gently pattering against the glass doors as he stepped outside. The storm outside seemed less fierce than the one brewing in his mind. Zidane remained calm, but inside, a plan was forming. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. Under the hotel's awning, the rain formed a curtain between him and the streets of Paris. He paused to think, the sound of the rain mingling with the city's muffled hum. His outward calm masked a growing determination. This wasn't the first time he'd faced such disrespect, but tonight, it was personal. He glanced back through the glass doors. The young couple who had entered moments earlier was now comfortably settled on a velvet sofa, sipping complimentary champagne. Mark, the receptionist, had returned to his casual posture, tapping idly on his computer, unaware or unconcerned that Zidane was still watching. The Grand Hotel Imperial wasn't an ordinary establishment. Renowned for its exclusivity, it offered some of Paris's finest rooms. Guests didn't just visit the city, they immersed themselves in luxury. Crystal chandeliers gleamed above marble floors, reflecting the opulence of a place designed for the elite. Yet, as Zidane observed the scene, he saw something less refined beneath the grandeur, a culture of silent prejudice. Zidane was no stranger to the dynamics of power tied to wealth and influence. He had built his empire from nothing, rising to become one of football's and business's most iconic names. Yet, even with all his achievements, moments like this reminded him that some people only saw the surface, quick to judge rather than understand. The rain began to ease, and Zidane stepped away from the awning, his polished shoes clicking softly on the wet cobblestones. As his SUV pulled up, his driver opened the door. "Back to the apartment, sir?" Zidane shook his head. "Not yet. Take a drive." As they navigated Paris's wet streets, the city's energy pulsed around them. Neon signs shimmered under a darkened sky, and distant horns and laughter filled the air. For most, it was just another night in the city that never sleeps. For Zidane, it was the start of something much bigger. He pulled out his phone and scrolled through his contacts. With a quick tap, he connected with his assistant. "I need everything you can find on the Grand Hotel Imperial. Its owner, its history, its weaknesses. By the time I'm back, I want a plan ready." "Yes, Mr. Zidane," his assistant replied efficiently. Zidane leaned back in his seat, his mind racing. He wasn't going to let this go. The Grand Hotel Imperial was about to learn a lesson, and he was the perfect man to deliver it. At the Grand Hotel Imperial, the mood was different. Mark was chuckling with a colleague, recounting his encounter with the man who had left moments earlier. "Can you believe he thought we'd just give him a room?" Mark said with a mocking grin. "These people think money can buy everything. This place is about class." His colleague, Claire, hesitated. "I don't know, Mark. He seemed important. What if he was someone high profile?" Mark shrugged, indifferent. "Doesn't matter. We have our rules." What he didn't know was that the man they had turned away wasn't just any client. It was Zidane, an international icon with the power and resources to change their lives forever. As Zidane drove through the city, he reflected on all the times he'd faced similar situations, not just in hotels, but in boardrooms, restaurants, and other places that claimed to be reserved for the elite. It wasn't the rejection that stung. It was the principle, the silent message that some doors were closed, no matter what you'd achieved. But Zidane wasn't one to dwell on frustration. He acted. When his car reached his apartment, he already had the outlines of a plan. "Tonight, they turned me away," he murmured as he stepped out of the vehicle. "Tomorrow, I'll own the place." Zidane sat at the black marble table in his apartment, the city lights twinkling through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The room was quiet except for the sound of emails pinging into his inbox. His assistant had worked quickly, sending everything there was to know about the Grand Hotel Imperial. The chain's financial reports were as revealing as Zidane had suspected. The Grand Hotel Imperial was struggling. Occupancy rates had been declining for years, and the flagship Paris location was no exception. Poor management decisions, lack of modernization, and bad press had tarnished its reputation. It was a golden opportunity for someone with the vision and resources to seize it. His phone buzzed, breaking the silence. It was Elise Renard, his sharp and efficient lawyer. "Zidane, I've reviewed the documents. The parent company of the Grand Hotel Imperial is flirting with bankruptcy. If you want this hotel, you have leverage. But it won't be cheap. They'll negotiate hard to save face." Zidane leaned back in his chair, a small smile playing on his lips. "Price isn't an issue, Elise. Just make sure the deal happens. When they realize what's coming, it'll be too late." Elise chuckled. "You've never been afraid of bold moves. I'll prepare preliminary offers for tomorrow morning." When the call ended, Zidane's smile faded, replaced by a more serious expression. For him, this wasn't just a business opportunity. It was about sending a message. The Grand Hotel Imperial wasn't the first place to treat him, or others like him, with disdain. But it would be the last. The next morning, Victor Lemoyne, the owner of the Grand Hotel Imperial, sat in his luxurious office at the top of the hotel. An older man dressed in an impeccable suit, he exuded a certain tension. His assistant entered, holding a tablet. "Mr. Lemoyne," she began nervously, "we've received an offer for the Paris property. It's significant." Lemoyne frowned, taking the tablet and scrolling through the details. "Zidane," he muttered, reading the name of the prospective buyer. "Why does that name sound familiar?" His assistant hesitated. "He's also the former footballer. Zizou, the champion." Lemoyne raised an eyebrow, leaning back in his chair. "Interesting. What does a retired footballer want with my hotel?" Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. "Mr. Lemoyne," his secretary's voice came through. "Someone is here to see you. He insists it's urgent." "Who is it?" Lemoyne asked, impatient. "It's Mr. Zidane." Lemoyne's confusion deepened, but he gestured for his assistant to leave. "Send him up." Minutes later, Zidane entered Lemoyne's office, his presence as commanding as ever. He wasted no time on small talk, placing a folder on Lemoyne's desk. The preliminary acquisition offer. "Good morning, Mr. Lemoyne," Zidane began, his tone calm but firm. "I'll get straight to the point. I'm here to buy the Grand Hotel Imperial Paris." Lemoyne opened the folder, scanning the documents. His eyes narrowed as he analyzed the figures. "This is a bold offer, Mr. Zidane, but we're not looking to sell." Zidane leaned forward slightly, his gaze unwavering. "You and I both know that's not true. This hotel is losing money. You've been holding on, hoping things will turn around. They won't. Not without drastic change. I have the resources to make that happen." Lemoyne's jaw tightened. "And if I refuse?" Zidane didn't flinch. "Then I'll wait until the chain collapses completely and buy it for a fraction of the price. But that won't be good for you or your reputation." Lemoyne stared at Zidane for a moment, the tension palpable. Finally, he sighed, sinking back into his chair. "Why this hotel, Mr. Zidane? What's your goal?" Zidane's expression softened slightly, but his voice remained firm. "Because last night, I was treated like I didn't belong here. I want to ensure no one else experiences that." Lemoyne nodded slowly, realizing there was no winning this fight. "I'll have my legal team review the offer. But I warn you, if you take this hotel, it won't be easy to turn it around." Zidane's half-smile returned as he stood to leave. "Turning things around is what I do, Mr. Lemoyne. I'll be in touch by the end of the day." Lemoyne's reluctant acceptance of Zidane's offer was finalized. The Grand Hotel Imperial Paris was now under new ownership. News of the acquisition spread quickly, dominating headlines in business and entertainment circles. "Zidane buys iconic Paris hotel," one article proclaimed. "The champion expands his empire. But what's next for the Grand Imperial?" another questioned. Zidane paid little attention to the media frenzy. For him, the real work was just beginning. The Grand Imperial wouldn't just be a symbol of luxury. It would become a beacon of respect, inclusivity, and change. The morning sun rose over Paris, bathing the Grand Imperial's facade in a golden glow. Its polished glass windows reflected the bustling city, but today, the activity inside was anything but ordinary. Zidane arrived in a black SUV, stepping out with determination. His charcoal gray suit and legendary confidence turned heads as he approached the entrance. This time, no umbrella shielded him from the sun. He wanted everyone in the lobby to see him clearly. As the automatic doors slid open, the scent of roses and coffee greeted him. The lobby's grandeur was unchanged, but the atmosphere had shifted. Employees whispered among themselves, their curious gazes following Zidane across the marble floor. Behind the counter, Mark still wore his aloof expression, but when he spotted Zidane approaching, his confidence wavered. He smiled, but hesitation flickered in his eyes. "Good morning, sir," Mark said, attempting a professional tone. "How can I assist you?" Zidane didn't respond immediately. He placed a sleek black folder on the counter and opened it slowly, revealing legal documents with signatures and stamps. "I'm not here as a guest," Zidane said, calm but firm. "I'm here to introduce myself. As of this morning, I'm a new owner of the Grand Hotel Imperial Paris." The room froze. Conversation stopped. Employees halted. All eyes turned to the counter. Mark's face paled, his mouth opening and closing as he searched for words. I don't understand," he stammered. Zidane remained unflinching. "Let me make it simple. Last night, you turned me away. You lied about there being no rooms, and you made it clear I didn't belong here. Well, now I do. I own this hotel." Mark opened his mouth, but no sound came out. Zidane turned to the gathered staff. "This hotel has operated on a culture of exclusion for too long. That ends today. The Grand Imperial will now be a place where everyone, regardless of their background, is treated with respect and dignity." The tension was palpable, but a glimmer of hope shone in some employees' eyes, including Vanessa, a housekeeper who had endured years of subtle prejudice. She listened intently, her heart caught between apprehension and cautious optimism. Zidane's attention returned to Mark, still frozen. "As for you," he continued, his tone firm, "your actions last night speak volumes. You have no place in this hotel's future. You're fired, effective immediately. Mark's face flushed red, panic replacing his confidence. Mr. Zidane, please, I didn't mean. Zidane raised a hand to silence him. Save it. You had your chance to treat people with dignity. You chose otherwise. It's time to face the consequences. Mark muttered a final protest before slinking away under everyone's gaze. Zidane turned to the staff, his tone softening slightly. I'm not here to punish unfairly. Mistakes happen, and I believe in second chances. But this hotel will not tolerate prejudice or disrespect. If you're ready to grow, there's a place for you here. If not, it's best we part ways now. The employees exchanged glances, torn between relief and uncertainty. Zidane's words were stern but sincere. Starting today, he continued, this hotel will undergo a complete transformation. New management, new policies, and training to ensure every guest feels valued. This is your chance to be part of something bigger, to build a legacy we can all be proud of. Vanessa stepped forward hesitantly. Mr. Zidane, I've been here for 10 years. I've seen a lot of things that weren't right, but I never dared speak up. If things are really going to change, I'd like to be part of it. Zidane smiled, a genuine warmth in his expression. Vanessa, people like you are the heart of this place. Your voice will be heard, and I promise, this hotel will become a place you're proud to work at. The room began to buzz with cautious optimism. Employees who had long been overlooked saw a glimmer of hope. Before leaving the hotel that morning, Zidane gathered the staff in the lobby for one final message. Standing at the center of the grand room, he spoke with calm authority. This isn't just about fixing a broken system, he said. It's about setting a new standard. The Grand Imperial will no longer be just a luxury hotel. It will be a symbol of respect, inclusion, and excellence. Together, we'll prove that hospitality isn't just about chandeliers and marble floors. It's about people. As he stepped out into the morning light, Zidane felt a deep sense of purpose. The real work was just beginning, but he was ready. In the weeks that followed, the Grand Imperial underwent a radical, unprecedented transformation. Zidane's vision was clear. The hotel wouldn't just be luxurious, it would be welcoming to every guest. The opulence would remain, but the culture would be revolutionized. The first major change was structural. Construction teams arrived almost immediately, modernizing the space. Cold, impersonal marble walls and outdated furniture gave way to warm tones and modern design. The bar was expanded into an elegant lounge where guests could relax without feeling judged, and the lobby was redesigned to feel open and inviting. But the true transformation lay not in the decor, but in the people. Zidane made it clear to his new general manager, Angelique Dumortier, that the hotel's soul would be its staff. It's not just about polishing marble floors, Zidane told her during one of their meetings. We're building a team that reflects the values this hotel must embody: respect, inclusivity, and hospitality. No more barriers. No more exclusivity that shuts people out. I want everyone who walks in here to feel they belong. Angelique nodded, fully aligned with the mission. She had built her reputation turning around struggling hotels, but she sensed this project was different. Zidane didn't just talk about change, he made it happen. One of his first major initiatives was implementing training programs for all employees, from housekeepers to management. The sessions, led by hospitality professionals and diversity and inclusion experts, weren't dull seminars, but interactive workshops that challenged staff to reflect on their own biases and prejudices. Vanessa, the housekeeper who had spoken up on Zidane's first day, became a standout participant. During one session, she shared how a guest had been mistreated by the previous management simply because they didn't fit the typical client profile. I felt so powerless, she admitted. I wanted to step in, but I thought no one would listen. Now that things are changing, I finally feel like I have a voice. Her vulnerability resonated with her colleagues, and soon, Vanessa was promoted to head of guest relations. She became a bridge between staff and guests, ensuring everyone was treated with dignity. Not everyone embraced the change. Some longtime employees resisted, clinging to old ways. A few grumbled quietly about the new training. Others refused to participate. Zidane had anticipated this resistance and addressed it directly in a meeting. "I know change isn't easy," he said, his tone firm but empathetic. "Some of you might think the old ways work fine. But let me ask you this. If they really worked, why is this hotel where it is? The Grand Imperial wasn't just losing money, it was losing its soul. That's what we're here to fix. If you're not ready for that, this isn't the place for you." Over time, most employees came around. They saw that Zidane wasn't just making changes for show. He was deeply invested in their success. He spent time in every department, learning their daily challenges and finding ways to improve their working conditions. The transformation spread quickly. The Grand Imperial garnered media attention not just for its renovations, but for its bold new approach to hospitality. One journalist wrote, "Under Zidane's leadership, the Grand Imperial has become more than a luxury hotel. It's a symbol of what the hospitality industry should be." The changes here aren't just cosmetic, they're cultural. Guests noticed the difference too. Reviews poured in, praising the staff's warmth and professionalism, the inclusive environment, and the small touches that made every stay memorable. Angelique, the general manager, shared exciting news with Zidane. "Our bookings are up 40% from last quarter," she said, thrilled. "And our guest satisfaction scores are the highest in years." Zidane nodded, a faint smile on his face. "This is just the beginning," he replied. "We're not just fixing what was broken, we're building something entirely new." A defining moment in the transformation came during a meeting led by Vanessa. She introduced a new guest feedback system she had designed. "This system isn't just about solving problems," she explained. "It's about listening. Every guest who walks in here deserves to feel important, and it's our job to make sure they do." Her words were met with applause, and Zidane couldn't help but smile. Vanessa's journey mirrored the hotel's transformation, from overlooked and undervalued to empowered and thriving. The changes at the Grand Imperial extended beyond its walls. The transformation became a symbol of what was possible when respect, inclusion, and leadership challenged outdated norms. The hotel's reputation grew, with stories of its transformation circulating in the media, drawing attention from influencers, activists, and travelers worldwide. Social media buzzed with guest testimonials sharing their experiences, cementing the Grand Imperial as a beacon of change in the hospitality industry.